Are you ready for the truth? Yeah, good. Me too. So let's do this. Hi everyone, welcome to my new channel, Thermometer of Truth. My name is Saimira and I'm a truth teller. Normally I would start my videos with introducing myself, which is the customary way of starting a video. However, I would like to keep it short when it comes to introduction about who I am, because what I have to say is more important than who I am, which is the main reason that I need your focus about what I speak on this YouTube channel. Some of you might know me from the Deeper Life movement, which is the other channel that I've started a year ago. And maybe you are wondering as to where is the difference between these two channels. All you have to remember, even if you don't follow me, is that the Deeper Life movement is more spiritual and the Thermometer of Truth is more philosophical. But what is the Thermometer of Truth? Because we start YouTube channels for a purpose, because we have a message, because we have a mission, because there is something we need to share, because there is something we need to transmit to the viewer, right? And so everything that we start is not just a channel. It's not just us speaking general knowledge. We are trying to make a point. We are trying to get to a conclusion, right? We are trying to get to a result, whether it's one-sided or in a way of both conversing with the viewer, interacting with the viewer, or in a more passive way, right? So why this channel? What is the need that I need to speak of in this channel? Thermometer of Truth is about measuring, monitoring, and exposing how genuine and authentic and trustworthy the modern societies are. I made a video under the Deeper Life movement a few months ago, where I spoke briefly about truth, accountability, and values all in one video. But then, as I went further on the topic of truth, I realized that the connection between modern societies and the truth, or rather the lack of truth, the lack of the presence of truth in the way that we live our lives, in the way that we build our societies, in the way that we leave our generations to deal with whatever we are not dealing in our generation, it was way deeper than I thought. And that made the topic on the truth and speaking about the truth way more important than I ever thought, which brought the need to have a separate channel specifically dedicated to the importance of seeking the truth, speaking the truth, and living in truth. That is how Thermometer of Truth was born. Just like the name Thermometer of Truth, this channel is about measuring, as I said, how trustworthy our societies are. Because it is one thing what we say, and it is another thing the reality. That's where the truth comes in. The truth is distinguishing between deceit and reality, right? And so, how are we going to measure how trustworthy we are as societies? How do we measure how genuine and authentic we are as societies, right? Because that's what we claim. We claim that we have become free societies, we have become democratic societies, we have become strong, independent societies. However, when it comes to the truth, it seems to me that we are lying to ourselves, first of all, and then we are lying to each other about it too. So how do we measure that? We measure how trustworthy an individual is, or a society for that matter. I will use in this video individual, societies, humans, we, all interchangeably, because they are all the same. We make our societies, we build our societies. We don't import societies, right? We build them together. That means when I say we, us, individuals, people, human, I mean societies. So how do we measure that? We measure that by the ability to speak truth. If you want to know how trustworthy a person is, watch how capable they are to speak the truth. Right? And why is this important? Why is truth so important for us? I will go into separate points and categories in this video to explain in a more analytical way as to why truth is a fundamental value and virtue in building our societies. How can we apply truth among us, and why is truth so important for us? But in general, truth is a fundamental virtue upon which everything else is supposed to be built. The truth is not a luxury. It is not even an obligation to tick a box in our duties as citizens, individuals, or family members, or societies, or whatever we call ourselves. Right? Truth is a way of living. It's the very foundation of everything else that we build. We cannot build anything else without the presence of the truth. Now, this first video is a general video about the topic of truth and the importance of truth among our societies. That is why I have named this first video The Modern Societies and Their Separation from Truth. To establish a very important fact that yes, we do claim to have better, stronger, modern societies, but we have separated ourselves from the truth. We are separating every day ourselves, and we are moving away from truth and from reality, and we are becoming more and more distant from the truth, and we are going more and more into delusion and trickery and manipulation. So in this first video, that is what I want to establish, and I want to prove that yes, the truth is becoming a thing of the past. The truth is becoming a luxury that not everybody can afford. The truth has become a very expensive value that only people with high integrity can afford in their lives. However, as I go throughout other videos in this YouTube channel, because that's the purpose, the main two topics, the main two ingredients of every video that I publish on this YouTube channel will be societies and truth, and how they interact and work together, how the truth works in our societies. But in every video I will speak about different topics. I will go throughout different issues in our societies, in the way that we build our relationships, in the way that we build our families, in the way that we build our businesses, in the way that we build our systems, our governments, the way we build our ideologies, belief systems, and everything else. One of the purposes of this YouTube channel is to break the illusions that we live in. Whatever illusions we have created as societies that keep us stuck in manipulation and lies and deceit or trickery, they need to be shattered. They need to be brought to the surface, because without breaking these illusions that we have created for ourselves, we cannot get to the truth. Because truth is somehow, unfortunately, buried under the lies that we have chosen to live every single day. The only trigger warning for this YouTube channel is that if you feel triggered by what I'm speaking on this channel, then clearly this is not the channel for you. And if you are one of these people who thinks that I'm probably speaking about you, I'm not. So relax. When I speak about truth, I speak about probably 99% of the population, because we all live in the same societies, right? Different countries, but same societies. The model of societies that we have created are everywhere the same. So in some way, this video is not for you, but it's also for you, right? Because we are involved in the same mess that we have created for ourselves. So it's going to touch you, your emotions, your feelings in some way or another. And the good news is, if it stirs something in you, that's good. That means there needs to be some change done there, or improvement, or there is some truth that you need to face with yourself and you aren't doing it yet. So consider this a free therapy session. That was a joke. So let's get started on the topic, because I tend to make long videos, which is good and bad, because some people don't have the patience to follow very long videos, and that's okay. But let's start with the situation in our societies. What is going on? By the way, I'm going to look in my notes from time to time, because there's a lot of things to say, and I would like to keep the structure in its place without me going all over the place. That's why I always have paper in my hand. And I have my coffee, so don't mind. I'm comfortable. I'm home, so I'm really comfortable. I need to feel comfortable to speak freely on everything I have to say. I have a beautiful view in front of me. No curtains, so that's why I'm looking out of the window sometimes. I'm not distracted. I'm just getting inspired. I have my coffee, so don't mind me if I have some coffee. So get comfortable, get your coffee, and let's get into it. Let's start with something I saw a few days ago, in order to break the ice and get into the topic in a natural way. I was watching a few days ago, or 2 weeks ago somehow. I lost track of time apparently. I was watching a video about exposing the way people or companies make commercials about shampoos and hair products, right? And there was this commercial that they were dividing it into parts to show the viewer what tricks do they use in that company to, and in general, right, to commercialize it, to brand it, and to sell it to the consumer. So the scene was the following. There was a model, a very beautiful young lady with beautiful curly hair, and of course with a curated appearance, with a curated face, taking care of her hair and using some clips in her hair. So basically her hair was curled with a curling iron that was not her natural hair. And they were dividing the hair in two so that the curls would look more forward and bigger and would have more volume, right? That was the trick. And they would put some clips on both sides here so that they could push the hair forward. That way, when they made the video or the photo, she would look with a very, very volume in her hair. That was the trick, or let's say what they were the method, that the tools that they were using to make the viewer or the consumer believe that if they bought their shampoo, their hair would look just like that model's hair. Now, what happens here is that commercial was using trickery to make the consumer believe something that was not real. Because what that model was presenting there, that was not the truth. The truth was She had to do a lot of makeup. She had to go through 1 hour of curling the hair with very expensive hair products to put it in place, to keep it in place, stable. She had the perfect lighting, big projectors in front of her. She had a big ventilator that made her hair go into the wind and move the way they wanted her to move. She was a model. She was not a normal woman in the sense of the woman that we see on the street, right? So all of these tactics that were brought, they were never told to the consumer, right? Now, of course, you and I, we know that. We know we are being deceived because we know when we buy that shampoo, our hair won't look like that, like her hair. So there is two problems here. The first problem is we use trickery and manipulation and lies to sell something to someone that is not real, right? The second level of the problem, which disturbs me personally, is that we are okay with it. We know she is lying. We know that company is lying. We know that commercial we see on the TV is not real. And somehow, we not only buy the shampoo, but we are okay with the trickery. We are okay with the fact that they are lying to make us believe something that it is not truth. And that picture tells you and me a lot about how we operate in these societies. Now, mind you, if that woman would have come with bushy hair and uncombed hair and unclean hair and still said, you know what, my hair looks terrible, but please buy this shampoo because I think it's good, I would have still bought the shampoo because I need the shampoo. We need the shampoo to wash our hair. So whether they make commercial out of it or not, we're going to buy it anyway. The problem is, why is trickery used? I will go into answering that question later on. Why do people use lies and manipulation instead of truth? Because that's the core question, right? But the bottom line here is, I use this example which is a simple example, of course, because the trickery and manipulation in our societies is way deeper and is way more serious than this, right? Because in the end of the day, that commercial did not harm anybody. Even though there's deceit in it, it did not harm anybody. There's no damage done, right? But there is trickery and manipulation used in our societies to the level where people's lives are in danger. Yeah. To the level where wars are being started. To the level where entire nations are being destroyed. To the level where entire societies are being divided and polarized. So this example is just to show us, to paint us a simple picture as how deep are we in trouble as societies, and the fact that the truth is more and more is becoming a rarity, something rare. Not only that, but people who seek and speak the truth are attacked, they are ignored, they are devalued, they are discarded, they are ignored, they are bullied, they are hated, they are excluded from opportunities, from societies, from positions, from chances. That's what's happening. The saddest part here is, for me personally, that deception and manipulation among us on every level, on personal level, on family level, on society's level, on governmental level, on political level, on behavioral level, on ideological level. Everywhere you go, everywhere you turn around, there is deceit there. There is some level of deceit. Maybe not 100%, but there is always deceit there. And what scares me here is that deceit and manipulation has become our second nature. And the other question that I would like to answer throughout this video is, what is our first nature? Is in our nature as humans to lie all the time? To deceive other people, to get to our goals or to achieve whatever we're trying to achieve? Is that the purpose of human life? And is that the true nature of a human? If not, why are we wearing this second skin, if I can say it that way, which is deceit and manipulation? What makes a human choose for lies instead of truth? Now, I will go further into describing the state of our societies and our relationship with the truth, but first I would like to establish something very important here, because when it comes to the truth, the first question that we all have is, what is truth? Because here's the problem. Among our societies, we have developed a very weird acceptance and definition of truth, and that is the following: I have my truth, you have your truth, well, let's agree to disagree. You know, you can tell your truth and I'm going to tell my truth. Well, that's good, but the problem with that is that doesn't work, because that's not how truth works. There is no such thing as my truth, your truth, his truth, their truth. There is one truth, the truth. You either are the truth or you're not the truth. You either speak the truth or you don't speak the truth. There's no such thing with the truth as but, if, when, how, where. So the first question here is, let's clarify what is truth. What is this definition of truth that we all need to agree upon, right? Let me make my point a little bit more clear, maybe with an example, which I think is pretty interesting in establishing what truth is and what truth is not, actually. There is a story about George Benjamin Clemenceau, who was the Prime Minister of France between 1906 until 1920. And it is said that in 1919, in one of the negotiations during the Paris peace negotiations that led later on to the Treaty of Versailles, the Prime Minister of France, he sat with a group of Germans and he was talking, and one of the German representatives asked him, he said, "Sir, what do you think, and I wonder personally, what will historians speak and write 100 years later from now about what happened during the war and how that war started?" And the Prime Minister of France said the following. He said, and I'm quoting here, "One thing is certain, the historians will not say that Belgium invaded Germany." Now, what is the connection with the truth here? What he was saying here basically is, the truth is that Germany invaded France, right? And that will always be the truth. Whether your historians distort the truth, tell half-truths, manipulate the truth, deceive other people, because we still have in the modern times historians who do write lies, historians who do speak lies, right? Who do distort the truth in their own interest and whoever pays them. Problem is, the truth, no matter how much you distort it, the truth will always be there, even after 100 years. So the first clue that he was telling us was that the truth never changes. Whatever your historians will write 100 years from now, they can even write that France invaded Germany, but the truth is Germany invaded France. So nobody's going to lie about that, that's for sure. But what happens here in this scenario, because the question is, where does the truth here come in place? The picture here is that we have, on the one side, we have the human desires, the human ideas, the human ideologies, assumptions, propositions, theories, whatever they are, right? Based on your opinions, based on whatever you think, arguments, whatever, judgment, whatever. On the other side, we have the factual existence of something, right? So you might think that France invaded Germany, but the factual reality is that Germany invaded France. So the purpose, let's just call this A and B. The purpose here of the truth is for the A to be aligned with the B. That is, whatever you think that you're thinking, whatever your assumptions are about something, they should fit the reality and not the other way around. It is not the job of the truth to go according to your expectations about it. It is not the truth that adjusts and adapts to your expectation as to what is the reality. Your expectations and reality should adjust and should fit, and they should mirror the factual truth, right? So you don't fit the truth to be whatever you want it to be. You fit your world into the factual reality, into the truth. That is what truth is. That is, the A and B, they should always match. If the truth does not fit what you think about it, then it's not truth. Then you are manipulating facts or whatever you're doing behind closed doors, but that's not truth, right? So let's go a bit deeper on the truth here, because what are the main characteristics if we want to describe truth properly, right? We have to talk about the principles, right? What are the main principles that the truth rests upon? What are the main characteristics that describe truth as truth, that make truth the truth, right? So let's start with the first one. I'm going to read some of them because maybe I forget something. Principle number 1. Truth is defined as the state of being in accordance with facts or reality. That means a statement, a belief, a proposition, an opinion is considered true if it corresponds to the way things are, not the way you want things to be. Right? So when you have an assumption about something or someone, and you would love for that to be the truth for that person, but it's not, then you are not dealing with truth. You might be having manipulation or lies or whatever you're doing, deceit, trickery. You might be dealing with all of these things, but you're not dealing with truth. You're either not seeing the truth or you're not accepting the truth. But that is a personal issue, right? The second principle here is that the truth is an objective standard outside of us, by which we measure the reality of something. That is, reality in its original form, a fixed standard, and not the interpretation of it. So what we are saying here is that truth is not subjective, it's not what you make out of it. That's why there is no such thing as my truth and your truth. It's not about what you want it to be. It's not about what you interpreted it to be. It's not about what you wake up today with one truth and then you change your mind tomorrow about your truth. Well, that's not truth, because truth does not change according to your opinions and your feelings and your emotions. It is not based on those things. Why? Because those things change. They are not stable. Truth does not infatuate. It does not go with the flow. Truth is stable. Truth is rooted in reality, in reality and in facts, in truth as it is, not as we want it to be, right? That's the point. So truth is not a matter of how you look at things. It's a matter of how things are, with or without your permission. Whether you like it or not, truth is what it is. You might not accept it. You might want to distort it. You might want to hide it. You might want to ignore it. You might want to offend it. But the truth has nothing to do with this. That is your problem about the interpretation of the truth. So it's when we say it's something outside of us, it means it's not to be manipulated. If the truth is based on your emotions and feelings about something, you are manipulating it. You are making it whatever you want it to be, because it makes you feel better, because it hides your lies and your deceit and manipulation. But truth is outside of you. It is outside of your opinion, outside of your mood, outside of your emotions, outside of your beliefs about something or someone. Truth is resolute. It is rooted in reality. Here's another principle. Distortion of reality through manipulation or trickery doesn't make the truth less truth, or it does not deny it or make it disappear entirely. So truth does not change based on our ability to change facts or to distort the facts, right? Or lie about them. Another principle here that is important is truth is not only about what you see. Truth is also about what you don't see. You know, one of the problems we have in our society is that we believe to be the truth what we see. But people put a mask on. People pretend to be someone, or they pretend to have or do something that has absolutely nothing to do with the truth. Sometimes the truth has nothing to do with what you see. Truth is everything what you don't see. Truth is not the person you see in public. Truth is the person you see in private. How they behave back home when there's no cameras and no photographs. That's what the truth is. Truth is about your ability to have integrity and authenticity when nobody's watching. Because when everybody's watching, we like to pretend that we are perfect, don't we? Which makes us manipulators. So truth is a combination of both. Sometimes it's more what you don't see, behind closed doors and behind the veil, behind the facade that people put on in public. But in my opinion, truth is a combination of both. Truth is a combination of factual evidence, what you see, what you touch, what you feel, and things that are hidden as well. Together. Finally, truth cannot coexist with lies and deceit. Forget about it. Whoever thinks that they are being a truthful person, including our societies, whoever thinks that we are having trustworthy and honest societies and good societies and modern societies, and at the same time, and truthful societies, but at the same time, they live their life in total lies and deceit and manipulation and trickery, those people are fooling themselves, because truth does not coexist and truth can never cohabitate with manipulation, because they live in different addresses. Truth lives in light and manipulation and deceit lives in darkness. So in this world, the roles are pretty clear. You either work for the darkness or you work for the light. There is no such thing as one foot in here and one foot in there. People who live with one foot in truth and one foot in lies are people who live in limbo. Those are people who never find peace in their life. Those are people who never find happiness in their life, because they are not clear which way to go and they are not clear what to choose in their life. But you need to make a choice when it comes to the truth in your life and about your life and how you live your life and how you want to raise your kids and how you want to marry someone and how you want to love someone. You need to pick a side. You are either a liar or a genuine person. There is no such thing as, but yeah, there's a white lie in here and I need to protect myself and maybe I should not speak the truth and maybe I should be silent today, but tomorrow I'm going to speak. No, that's not how truth works. If you pick the truth, you have to be truthful all the time. Yes, there is a price to pay for that. You will pay a price anyway in this life, because in this life we cannot escape trouble. That's one of the illusions people live in. They think if they don't speak truths, they will escape suffering. That is a total illusion. Whether you speak truth or not, we all suffer. The problem is it benefits you and me and everybody else to build a better world based on truth than leave a total mess behind. A society built on lies and manipulation that serves nobody. That's just us fooling ourselves. And we know it. That's the hard. That's the sad part. We all know it. So let's get into the part where we touch upon what is the relationship between us and the truth. Like, what are we doing here? What are we really doing here? Because we need to bring ourselves in reality. It feels to me sometimes we don't know how to be rooted in reality. People are just going there with the flow, doing things because everybody else is doing them. People are not rooted in reality. We have become delusional societies. We have become distorted societies. We don't know what to believe anymore. We don't know what's right, what's wrong, which way to go, who is lying, who is being genuine. We don't know. We are confused. We are divided. We are filled with confusion and hate. We are bitter. We are angry. We are hateful. We are judgmental. Why? It's not because we are poor. If you look 10 years, 20 years ago, previous generation, look at how your parents lived. They had very less, very few. We have more. We have improved financially. We have more properties. We live better. We eat better. We live in an era of knowledge and education and technology where everything is at fingertip of our hand with a scroll. We live in the age of fast information. We live in the age of more rights and more freedom than we ever had in human history. So why aren't we happy? Why can't we find that place in our life where we finally feel happy and good with ourselves? Let me tell you why. It's not because we are poor. It's not because we have wars. It's because we are not living in our truth. People don't live in their truth. People don't like the truth. People live in lies and deception their whole lives, and they are never happy because of that. The struggle is internal. It's never from outside. Yes, there are people who suffer because of poverty, of course. There are people who have debts. There are people who are at war. Yes, of course. But the biggest struggle you will ever have in your life is the lack of genuinity and authenticity. You are suffering because you have an internal struggle. And that internal struggle is, should I live my life in truth with the risk of being attacked? Or should I live my life in a total lie at the risk of never being happy for the rest of my life? Because I know you can never have a genuine life by living in lies. By living with lies, by producing lies. Whoever thinks that is fooling themselves. There is no such thing as I'm going to live in deceit and lie and manipulation and I'm going to have a happy life. That does not happen, not on this planet. So our struggle, the fact that we as societies are becoming more and more miserable is not because we have less. We have more. We have more accumulation. We have more partners. People are going from one woman to another woman, from one man to another man, thinking they will find happiness there. That's not the problem. The problem is that every relationship you enter, you are not able to be genuine. You are not able to be honest. You are not able to be truthful to yourself, to tell that person the truth. That's what makes you miserable. It's not your circumstances. And that misery that you feel from within, of course, that you will mirror it and you will reflect it everywhere you go. You will reflect it in your relationships, you will reflect it in your family, you will reflect it in the way you grow up your children, you will reflect it at your job, everywhere. So the question here is then, does this mean that we haven't improved as societies? Because if we measure the improvement of our societies based on human rights, we would say yes, we have moved forward, not backwards. If we would measure it by materialism, we would say yes, nowadays we have way more money and financial security than we had 2 generations ago. Of course we have moved forward. What about when it comes to our ability to be trustworthy and genuine and authentic as societies? Have we moved forward? I say we haven't. So what happened here? Why do I think this? I think we haven't moved forward when it comes to becoming genuine and just societies. Yeah. And the reason for that is that I think that comes is because we have become, we have not become better at telling the truth or speaking the truth or protecting the truth. We have become better at hiding it. We have become more sophisticated in the way that we lie and we hide behind the facades and the masks that we put on. That's the difference. Let me give you a simple example to make my point clear here. Let me get some coffee first. A few years ago, I had a neighbor. I was living in a apartment complex, and there was this project from the city hall, which was actually a national project, but they were doing it in our city in every building, to install a new metric system in our houses, in our apartments, in regard to new systems of electricity. And of course, they had to remove the old equipments to install new equipments, right? And they were doing their thing. They were asking us when we were available, calling us, sending us letters, and everybody would have their procedure done on different dates. We had a neighbor who refused to cooperate with the city hall and with the company. And his excuse for that, basically every time they would call him to postpone a meeting or a visit, he would either reject them or he would never pick up the phone. They would come at his door, knock on his door, he would never open the door. And people wondered what was his problem. Why was this man avoiding that procedure that was meant for everybody, that was not for him only? And some of the neighbors got curious and they started asking him, in all honesty, like, what is your problem, man? Why aren't you opening the door? I mean, what is wrong with you? And his excuse was, well, I'm having my privacy. I have right to my privacy. I don't know what these companies are installing in my house. For all I know, could be something shady. I don't know what the government is doing. I don't want anybody in my apartment. Now, so far, no problem. Of course, we have a right to privacy, right? However, that was not the truth. The company was forced to dig a bit deeper and do some research because they started becoming suspicious as to why this man is not responding, right? For something that had nothing to do with him. It was a procedure for everybody. So they started digging a little bit about him, and they found out, in cooperation with the city hall, that man was growing weed in his apartment for a while. And they caught him by the electric bill, by the way, which is very ironic. Now, when I say we have become more deceitful in hiding our truths, we have become more skillful, in camouflaging the truths, in camouflaging our lies, in selling lies as truth, and many other things. This is one of the examples I was speaking about, because people will go as far as they can and as far as they have to fool you about the truth. They will not only hide the truth, but they will fool you right to your face that in fact the privacy is why they don't do something, or why they do something. People hide behind the most important causes that you would think, but also behind the most ridiculous things that you would ever think about. In this case, he was hiding behind his privacy, right? Or have you seen these people that go on social media with fake profiles, or they have a profile but they never post, they never put a picture? Now, I'm not judging. I'm not saying everybody is doing it, but many people do that. So they do have a profile to spy on others, but they never publish anything on themselves because they say, it is my privacy I'm protecting. I'm protecting my children. I'm not showing my name because my privacy is important. Actually, what's the truth really about is they are hiding something. Yeah. So it is very important for us to not be fooled by this facade that we have on. and all these acting skills that people put on, but also as societies, as to how genuine we are. I have seen men and women holding a big demonstration paper and cardboard on their hands and screaming and yelling on the streets about human rights, about women's rights. And then they go home and then they beat their wives. Then they go home and they abuse their children. So, if we want to play this little game where we fool one another and ourselves, most importantly, then be my guest. Personally, I refuse to play this game. I have never played this game. One of the things that personally I am most proud of is my genuinity and authenticity. I have refused to make compromises when it comes to the truth. And let me tell you something interesting about my life. Because of that, I have been attacked the most. Yeah. People who speak truth are not only people with great courage and a big backbone. Yeah, because the truth is not for the heart fainted. It is not for those with a weak heart and with a weak mind. Yeah, truth is spoken by those who have the strength to stand for what they say, to stand for the things that they fight for. So truth, no, is not for everybody. But that is not a justification to stay in the filth that we have created as societies. When we have examples of truth tellers and truth speakers and truth seekers, as I call them, we need to encourage and we need to support these people, because by supporting these kind of people, we set another standard among our societies, a standard that asks us all to be better, to ask more, to ask for more genuinity and more values and virtues among our societies. Unfortunately, we haven't gotten there yet. We are still on the level of foolery, where we keep fooling ourselves. And here's the funny part about what we are doing here as societies. We are all involved in this little foolery game that we think we are fooling each other and we are benefiting from each other's misery, right? So there's this circle that goes around and around, but it is a closed circle. We cannot break it because we are going around and around it without getting out of it. What we are doing here is we are thinking we are fooling somebody, but that somebody is fooling us back with another type of foolery. So basically, we are chasing our own tail as societies, thinking and fooling ourselves that we are solving issues out there. The truth is, we are not solving anything. As a matter of fact, we are making our issues only deeper and worse. That's the truth. Whether you like it or not, that's the truth. So, we hide behind many things, and we like to hide our truths, and we like to manipulate truths. However, the problem with that is that we aren't harming anybody but ourselves. But let's speak a little bit about take another example here. Because why is truth so important then? Why do we need to establish the fact that the truth is the core, the most fundamental element upon which we should build safe houses, that is the societies we live in, the modern societies, or whatever kind of societies we pretend to have and build, right? The first rule we need to remember here about ourselves as well as individuals, but also as societies, is that we cannot build nothing valuable unless it's based on truth. Nothing. Forget about it. No politics, no governments, no human rights, no empowerment, no women issues, no protection, no whatever you think you're building out there. Nothing can be built that is genuine, that is long, steady, and healthy, and strong, and unable to be broken easily without the presence of truth. Let's take an example of relationships. This is a big topic, and I am going to get into it on a separate video because we need to speak about relationships. The way people enter relationships is mind-boggling. Let me give you an example. I had made a video about the fact why truth is so important in building relationships of any kind in our lives, that we cannot build genuine relationships without the presence of honesty. And the main ingredient for honesty is the ability to be truthful, to speak truth, to live in your truth. I had made a short video on TikTok. By the way, check us on TikTok. I have a profile there only under the deeper life, but I speak there about everything, not only about the deeper life, but also about issues about our society. And I made a short video. That's the beauty of TikTok. You can make short videos and very concentrated and focused on the topic. And I posted a video many months ago about this, about the relationships and the fact that no relationship can stand, it can live unless it's based on truth. And there was a comment, because my claim was people cannot build genuine relationships without the presence of truth, right? That was the hypothesis here. And there was someone who had replied to my video, and he had said, some people can. Some people can build relationships without truth. And I replied, I'm sorry to disappoint you, sir, but those aren't relationships. Those are two people lying to each other, fooling one another, using one another, and pretending they are in love. That's what that is. Now, as I said, the way people enter in relationships based on foolery and trickery and manipulation, the methods that human beings use to trick one another, to make them fall for one another, to make them love one another. And I'm not speaking here about extreme methods such as witchcraft and whatever, magic, whatever they are using there. I'm speaking about mind manipulation. Yeah. It is, to me, something to be studied at school. The ability of humans to even pretend that they can enter a relationship with dishonesty by lying about everything, including who they are, including about who they are. And then they will be happy in that relationship. That, to me, is a mystery, because I'm not sure what to call it. Should I call it stupidity? Should I call it naivety? Should I call it nonsense? Could be all of these things. But of course, I'm not here to offend anybody. We can never build anything pure, solid, valid, something that will live in the long term based on trickery. Forget about it. So, without foundations that are built on trust, on values, on virtues, on integrity, on morality, on authenticity and genuinity, which are all based on one core element, which is truth. Truth. We cannot build anything else. Absolutely nothing else. Have you ever wondered why the world is in the situation that it is? Because not only the reason for that is because we not only believe the lies that we are told and we are sold, we also make those lies our only truth. We apply these lies to our life. We make those lies the fundamental pillars of building everything else. So basically the anti-values in the societies that we live in, they have become our values. The deception has become a normality, because why? How do you think you're going to get ahead in life? Of course, you have to trick your colleague out of his position and take his job. That's how you get ahead in life. Of course you have to lie how you build your business, otherwise nobody's going to buy your product. Of course you have to compete secretly with somebody to trick them. Make them believe that they have no value so that you can get whatever they have. That is where we live in right now. That is the reality we live in. And here's the shocking part. We call that success. We call that progress. We call that empowerment. Yes. If you steal another woman's husband, good for you. Yes. Good for you. Why? Because you can. You can. It's that simple. Wow. Wow. It seems to me a lot of us don't have a mirror in their houses. I suggest some people should have 2 mirrors to look at themselves back and front, because they have a big problem with facing their reality. A lot of people live with like the ostrich with a head in the sand. You know these people? Don't tell me the truth. I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear it. They will do anything but hear the truth. They will do anything but accept the truth. Now, those people are the real dangers in our societies. Those are the people that will smile in your face. They will throw the stone and hide the hand. Those are the people who are not capable of honesty. Those are people who are not capable of truth. They don't know how to live in truth. They have never lived in truth. The truth is boring to them. Yeah. Most people, unfortunately, believe the lies that they tell themselves. Some people live in lies their entire life. And here's the problem. When you try to bring them to the truth, to the reality, to shake them from the deceitful lives that they live, they will curse you. They will attack you in any way that they can. Because some people are so deep in their sleep, they don't want to be bothered. Some people don't want to be awakened. No. Because people who seek the truth and speak the truth are people who like to awaken from the illusions that they are living. They like to break free from the chains of whatever deceit and trickery is going around them. That is one of the goals of this YouTube channel, is to shake us, awaken from whatever trickery is going around us. The problem is not in us seeing the trickery for what it is. The problem is to change the reality, because that trickery has, or that deceit that you are living in, it has consequences for your life. That's the problem. It's not about you hearing the truth and case closed. That's the easy part of the truth. Speaking the truth is the easy part. The hard part about the truth is that after you speak it and after you seek it, you have to live it. You have to be a living example of the truth. Right? It's not enough to be a truth seeker and a truth teller. You have to live in your truth every day to be an example for others as well. To show others that there is another way, there is a better way, that the deceit and manipulation is not the only way, that is not the best way. Right? So, there is something here that I wanted to touch upon, which I think is important, and that is the question, why do people avoid the truth? Because yes, it is one thing that there are people who claim that they want to live in their truth and they want to be truthful and genuine because they are sick and tired of living in lies and manipulation and everybody playing around mind games with him. Of course, people are tired, they are sick and tired. But some people can't. And the question here is then, why aren't people capable of speaking truths? Or if they are capable, why aren't they doing it? Why aren't people and societies in general choosing for the truth every single time? Truth is not a one-time action. You don't get to change your life by speaking truth once. You don't get to have better societies by speaking truth twice. Truth has to be a lifestyle. It has to be the core of your identity, of your entire existence as a human being, in everything that you do. That's how you change. But why do people avoid truths? Let's talk about that a little bit, because I find this interesting. Now, these are 3 reasons that, according to my understanding and in my experience, that I have encountered in my life's journey to be the main reasons why people avoid truth and why they don't speak truth. First of all, people avoid the truth because they cannot achieve the goals they want with truth. They think they can achieve whatever they are chasing out there with trickery. Let me tell you how foolish some people are. They think that after they succeed into tricking someone into someone, because that's how some people think they get ahead, by tricking, by manipulating, by playing mind games. They think they have won in life. And some people do win temporarily and momentarily out of trickery, out of, tricking someone out of their spot. Yes, some people benefit out of it temporarily. However, in the long run, those manipulators and those mind game players, they lose, because they cannot control anything in the long run. They can control trickery and manipulation and deceit in a certain moment, in a certain time and circumstance, and they can throw you off your path for the moment, but they cannot control anything in the long run, because the path and the journey in life is comprised of many other factors on the way. It's not depending only on your ability to manipulate and lie others. Life is way more complicated than that. There are things in life unpredictable. Life is a mystery. So nobody knows how the trickery will work out. Usually people who walk in life with trickery, they get tricked by themselves. They end up being tricked and played by themselves, right? So that's the first reason. The second reason why people avoid the truth is because they think they benefit more by being silent. Have you heard these people that always say, when it's time to react and say something, or be truthful about something, their reaction is always, it's none of my business. It's none of my business. It's none of my business what's happening there. As long as it's not happening in my house, as long as it's not happening on my job, I don't care. I don't care about what happens outside of my territory. Well, the problem with that is, the deceit in all of that attitude is that it's not your problem now, but it will become tomorrow. Because what people forget is that we build our societies together. We are not living in our cocoon. We are not living in our own bubble, and everybody has its own bubble, and that's how we live. We are human beings. We interact. We have interests. We share interests. We impact each other's lives. Whether we like it or not, whether we see it or not, whether we accept it or not, we interact and we impact each other's lives directly or indirectly. So whatever you do, it will come back to you. That's how life works. So thinking it's not my business what's happening outside my door is not wise. Because when your turn comes, when misery comes your way and it's your turn to suffer, the other person that you ignored will think the same. They will also think, it's not my business. It's not my business. One of the examples that I like to mention about this case is that people think it's none of my business. Let's say you are a parent and you send your child to school and there's a predator on the street, but you cannot see your child. You're back at home and your child is on the way to school, and somebody snitches your child out of street, or out of the school for that matter. Somebody steals your child. So your first reaction and wish as a parent would be, I wish somebody had called the police. I wish somebody had chased that man to grab my child away from him. I wish somebody had screamed about my child to save his life. Why would people do that? It's none of their business. So you see how that works, don't you? It's not about the fact that it's our business. That's not the problem here. That's not the mindset that prevails here. The mindset that prevails is, I would wish for me what I wish for anybody else. And I would wish for anybody else not to happen to anybody else what I would never wish for myself. It's called communion. It's called collaboration in a society. It's called empathy. It's called cohabiting with others. The third reason that people do not tell the truth is that because they are hiding something. That's the example that I gave about my neighbor hiding behind his privacy. People hide behind human rights, people hide behind laws, people hide behind lobbying, people hide behind politics, ideologies, opinions, anything you can think of. Any possible answer you could have to this, the answer is yes, they do hide behind it. Not everybody. But if the society is in the mess that it is, that means the majority is doing the wrong thing. Because the rule is the majority prevails. Despite what everybody likes to believe, this big foolery and this big lie that, well, we don't decide. The politicians decide for us. No, they don't. No, they don't. That's just a lie you like to tell yourself to remove your responsibility out of your life, to take action. But that's not the truth. The truth is we decide the reality we live in together. Some of us by not speaking, some of us by judging, some of us by ignoring, some of us by hating, some of us by killing. We create together. It's a co-creation process. Building societies is not individual, is collective. It's a collective process. That means collective powers have to work to build that kind of reality. So if the majority in this society are liars and manipulators, that means that's what's prevailing. That means we have to switch it off and start exposing the illusion around us. We need to start to be truthful to ourselves and honest with ourselves first and then with others. Because it's easy to point your finger, isn't it? It's easy to tell others you're not sincere, you're not honest, you are not being smart, you are making the wrong decision. That's easy, everybody can do that. What about when you point your finger towards yourself and you face your own reality? Because the thing is, when you fix your own reality, you will mirror and reflect that towards others. When you start living in your truth and you set your standards high, you're living a genuine life, an authentic life for yourself. You don't have to prove it to anybody. You don't need to wave a flag around to show others how good you are. All you have to do is seek the truth, believe the truth, be the truth, walk in your truth, and live in your truth. Yeah, that's it, that's all. Everybody else around you will see how you live. Everybody around you will see how you respond. Everybody around you will see what kind of example you set. And then they will start following. Those who are ready for the truth. Those who are not ready for the truth will keep living in their darkness. But that's none of your business, is it? Our only duty is to be responsible towards ourselves first. And then live as an example to inspire others to do the same. And to do the same. And to do the same. And so you see, when we raise the bar as societies, we are no more easy to manipulate. We are no more easy to be played with. We are no more easy to be divided and turned against each other. We have come to the point, I hope in Europe is not happening, but I see in the United States, that society has become so divided that they don't talk to each other in the family anymore because one is Democrat, the other one is a Republican. Really? That's what life is all about? That is what life and society is supposed to be? Here's the truth about it. Both Democrats and Republicans are lying. They're both lying. So, what does that leave you as a citizen? When you find out that, where does that leave you? It leaves you in a divided family. It leaves you in a position of betrayal, being betrayed by both sides. That's where it leaves you. Which means you have to understand how to live for yourself in your truth. That does not mean you should stop believing in anything you believe in, but you should understand what the truth is behind everything that is sold to you, that is pushed down your throat as truth, but in reality is trickery. That's our first duty as societies, to remove the veils, to remove the masks. That's the first duty. If we can't do that, we cannot get to the next step. Because building societies is not a straightforward process. We're going to go through a lot of challenges and a lot of things and struggles, and we have to be able to go through that by using truth as the most important tool and mechanism to fight our battles with. So here is one of my very favorite statements that I like to mention when it comes to the truth. A lot of people think that if we start telling the truth about everything, then our societies will collapse, right? That's what a lot of people believe. They think, well, what you're telling here, lady, is that we should speak the truth all the time and about everything. But if we do that, everything that we know to be as it is going to be destroyed. Wrong. Let me tell you why that's wrong. The reason that the societies will collapse if you start speaking the truth is not because you're speaking the truth. It's because the societies, the way you know them, are built upon lies and manipulation. That's why they will collapse. Let me repeat that again, because this is very important for you to understand where deceit begins and where truth begins. The reason that our societies might collapse when you and I speak the truth is not because of the truth. It's because the societies were built upon the wrong things to start with, to begin with. The whole fundament of our societies is false, is falsity. It's falsity. People start lying in the morning and they can't stop lying all day until they go to bed. Yeah. Here's another thing about the truth. Seeking for truth does not mean going out there and starting discussions and seeking contradictions and looking for problems. That's not what truth serves. Truth is going out there seeking for clarity, trying to fill the gaps of the things and about the things you and I don't understand. Truth is about bringing clarity. Truth is about removing the veil of confusion around you. Is to bring clarity, is to bring light into your life. It's not you going out there and chasing people to have a fight with them. That's not what truth stands for. That could be a consequence of you speaking the truth, because when you speak the truth, you will be attacked, because, as I said, we live in societies that are so deeply deceived and so deeply manipulated that we think people who tell the truth are our enemies, because people don't like truths. People have lived so many generations in lies and manipulation that they don't know how to tell the truth. They think the lies is the reality. So those contradictions and fights you might have out of speaking the truth could be the consequence of you speaking it, but it's not the reason why you should seek the truth in the first place. The truth is soothing, it's not contradictory. The truth is our best, biggest sword to fight our battles. It's not our enemy. The truth is not your enemy. It has never been your enemy. The enemy is whoever is selling you lies, hoping that you will buy them as truth. That's who the enemy is. So, we cannot get to the truth unless we expose the deceit around us. It doesn't work. Living in deceit and manipulation and going out there and screaming that you are fighting for the truth, that's not how truth works. Another important point that I want to mention, let me see, how much time do I have? It's 1 hour and almost 15 minutes, so we are good on the time. Our worth and value as humans is tied to the truth. There can be no dignity without the presence of truth. People are going out there trying to force others to respect them. Meanwhile, lying and manipulating and cheating their way up. I'm sorry, but who are you trying to fool? What are you trying to achieve here? Because I'm not clear on that. How can you even expect to be respected and to be seen as a genuine person while you live in a lie? While you live, you cheat and you manipulate everything that you do. You deceive everybody around you. And then your hurts are feeling when everybody sees you for the liar that you are. Well, how did that happen? I'm sorry, sometimes I cannot wrap my mind around how delusional people are. People live in delusion. Yeah? And that's a choice. That's okay. They want to live that way, that's their choice. But when you make that choice, you don't go around there waiting for respect back, because you get back what you give out. You don't get back what you want, you get back what you give out, because people see you. People are not stupid. So people will give you what you deserve, not what you want. That's not how it works. But truth is tied to our dignity, to our respect, to the genuinity, to the level of integrity, morality, everything. It's our core identity. Truth is our core identity. Right now it looks like it's not, because it's hidden and it's buried under all of this manipulation and deceit that we are going through, but it should be. Truth should always be the first reaction about everything, no matter what you do in life. Is it easy? No, because everything around you is trickery, so of course you breaking free from that, whatever box people put you in, it's not easy. Of course it's not. But is it worth it? Of course it's worth it. Because you live a free life. There can be no freedom. There can be no freedom in your life of any kind if it's not based on truth. That's it. That's it. You can lie to yourself all day long. You can pretend to be whoever you want to be. You can even paint a perfect picture to everybody around you about your image, about your reputation. But people are not their reputation. They're not. Most of the times they're not. Should the reality of the people and their reputation match, and the image that they sell match to one another? Of course they should, because you are not two people. You are not two separate people. You are not another person in private and another person in public. That is one of the biggest, most disturbing things that we encounter in our societies. People are even not who they say they are. People will paint you a perfect image in public, but they are a totally different person in private. Behind closed doors, they are different people. Behind closed doors, the masks are removed. Behind closed doors, you might be dealing with a serial killer or a monster or a rapist or whoever. A mentally disturbed person. But in public, they could be the most respected person. Which is why you need to be living in your truth. Not for the sake of the image. Because nobody, in the end of the day, we all live for ourselves. We don't live for others, right? But for the sake of your own peace. You need the truth. You need your truthful self, your true face, for your own peace, for your own genuinity, to be able to be at peace with yourself, with who you are, to be able to be happy. Have you wondered why people go around doing everything that they can and nothing makes them happy? They find happiness nowhere. They don't know how to be happy because they don't know how to be truthful to who they are. It's very hard for people to accept that they do have issues, that they need to work on the issues. They will do everything to distract themselves but to accept their own truths. It is hard accepting your own truth, especially when you are a bad person. It is hard, but it has to be done nevertheless. Because by you being deceitful and tricky and a cheater, you are hurting other people. You are having an impact on other people, people who are not guilty of your foolery. That's where the expression "get your thing together" comes from. Get your life in order, in other words. Because you live your life. Other people don't live your life. Other people watch you living your life, but they don't live it for you. You have to live your own life. Whether you live it in a truthful way or in a deceitful way, it is yours to be lived. It's easy. Let me see, what else do I have here? Okay, I have some more few points here. Truth is, it's not an extreme or big expectation, a luxury or an ideology or an idealistic way of living or whatever. Truth is the very basic standard we have to apply in our lives to live a decent life, to live a valuable life. Because here's the thing, in the end of our lives, the only question that will matter for us all is not even how you build your societies or what society you lived in. Nobody cares about that. But the question for all of us will be, how did you live your life? How? Yes, you lived your life, but how did you live it? We live in societies that have become so superficial and so shallow that they think having a lot, materialism, vanity, fame, validation, accumulation, lust, drugs, that's what decides the quality of your life. The more you have, the more valuable you must be. Wrong. The more genuinely you live, the more truthful you are to you and to others, the happier you'll be. That means the bigger the value upon your life. That means the deeper the way you have lived your life. That is why we have to get rid of the deceit around us. Because by believing the deceit, we have made that our normality. We think what we believe to be truth is truth, which is not. It's not. But because we do not challenge our belief systems, we do not speak about our faulty belief systems, our faulty behavior as humans, individuals, citizens, governments, politicians, we don't go deeper into those things. We just accept things the way they are. That does not make them truth. I don't care if everybody is saying the same thing and there's only one person speaking the truth, that is still the truth. That is still the truth. People think that the standards that we have built, because they are accepted by the majority, because they are accepted as truth by our societies, well, that must mean they are the truth. Well, they're not. They're not. Easy peasy. So we need to set some standards as societies, as individuals, as citizens, as governments, to build the systems upon the very basic rules. But first we have to agree upon what we accept as societies. What are we accepting as most fundamental pillars that build our societies? If you accept lies and manipulation and deceit, and you pretend they are the truth, then you will build deceitful societies. Make no mistake about that. Whoever thinks that we will improve human rights, meanwhile we are going cheating, lying, misusing, abusing the law, I'm sorry, but you are fooling yourself. That's not going to happen, because that doesn't work. It will never work that way. Human rights, since I'm taking human rights as an example, is not a matter of laws only. Yes, we do need the laws, of course. But the very fact, as a former lawyer myself, I'm still astonished by the fact that we need laws to tell people to behave. We need laws to punish people for their mistakes. We need laws to tell people what they need to do the right thing, to take the right decision. Yes, we need laws to protect people too, but we use laws as a moral standard to tell people something they already know. That you should be good, that you should make the right choice, that you should be honest and truthful in all your situations in life. That people need to be disciplined and to be forced to do the right thing. That to me is mind-boggling. Because a person who lives in truth, you don't have to tell them what the right thing is. They know what the right thing is. They don't need the law to force them into doing the right thing. They know, and they choose to do the right thing. But since the majority of us in the society do not live upon truth, they make the wrong choices, of course. But the duty of the law is not to discipline you. You should know your truth. You should know what truth is. It's your duty. And you should always choose for right. You should always choose for good. It takes no rocket science to understand that much, does it? So, we need to cultivate a basic need, a collective need and understanding for wanting the truth, for accepting the truth, for speaking the truth, for seeking the truth, and for living in our truth. There are many stages to the truth, but we need to start somewhere. We need to start somewhere. And where do we start? I hear you say. We start by asking yourself, is this the world I want to live in? Is this the society I want to leave my children behind in? Is this the life I want to live in? Is this pretense facade that I'm going and selling outside? Is this what I want to be? Is this my liberty? Is this my freedom? Is this who I really am? Is this my core identity? It's not. None of these things. And so when the answer is clear for that, you know what to do. Yeah. Another principle about truth that I really like is, I'm looking at the time, but we are good as long as we stay under 2 hours. Here's another thing that I really like. Truth keeps us rooted in reality because it makes all the difference between good and evil, between values and anti-values, between right and wrong. Truth is a standard. It's not an expectation. It's not a forced result. It's not an idealistic understanding or a standard that you have to force it upon yourself or others, right? So another illusion that we live by in these societies that we live in is that the illusion about power. We think power is money. Money is power. We think power is power. We think Uh, we think vanity is power, accumulation is power. We think even image and validation is power, titles, that's what's power. None of this is power. The real power and the only power that we have as individuals and societies is our truth. That's it. Why? Because the truth, when truth is spoken, everything shatters, everything breaks. Every illusion you have around you breaks down and it disappears. That's the purpose of the truth. That's the purpose of the truth, to keep you sober, to keep you awakened. Let's clarify a little bit here, because some people are going out there to the extremes to justify truths under conspiracy theories and whatever stories they are making up in their mind. That is also a choice, but that is pushing it to the other side too far, right? I already mentioned the elements that make truth truth. So whatever theory you are believing out there, make sure that it fits those elements. If it doesn't fit those elements, that the truth that characterize the truth, because these elements, they never change. Truth is what it is, and truth will always be based on the same principles until the end of times. So no matter your conspiracy theories, your lies, your deceit, whatever you're believing out there, it has to fit these characteristics. If it doesn't, then it's not truth. Then you are making it truth, then you have been deceived, you have been manipulated, you are being sold something that's not real. Could be anything, but it's not truth. So be careful when you go swinging from deceit on one extreme and then conspiracy theory on the other extreme, selling it as truth. Be careful what you believe. Use the filters about what truth is to understand what kind of truth are you believing, right? So finally, there is another point that I wanted to mention. Truth isn't about achieving a standard, fulfilling an obligation or an expectation outside of yourself. It's part of us. Truth is part of us. It's part of our life. It should be a crucial part of our life. It's about our ability as humans to live a good, genuine life. Why? Because it benefits us. It benefits us. It helps us to be... Do you know that a person who speaks the truth and a person who doesn't speak the truth, they don't sleep the same way? No. When you speak the truth, you have a peace within you that nobody can take it away. You're not worried. You're not concerned. There's nothing to be concerned about. Because when you lie and you deceive, you can't sleep. You can't sleep peacefully at night because you have to think of more lies to protect your lies. You have to keep producing lies and manipulation and deceit to keep whatever deceit you're selling out there, to keep it living, to keep it alive, to keep it as your reality. So no, you don't sleep the same way as somebody who speaks the truth. You don't. And that's a big difference about the quality of your life. It's not about the titles you hold. Oh, I'm a truth teller. That's not it. It's about the quality of your life. What kind of life you are living for you. How peaceful you are at night. How do you sleep at night? So, depending on the choices that you make for yourself, you will create the reality around you. And because the results of your choices, based on truth or not, will be mirrored back in the consequences that you will have to deal with later on. That is not a principle of truth. That is a principle of universal laws. That is a universal truth that works always like that, at all times, in all kind of realities. Even in the spiritual reality, that is a very crucial law. So, unless we bring change in our lives and among our societies, with each other, together, unless we agree upon what truth is for us, what do we want, how do we want to achieve it, unless we make peace with the fact that without the truth we cannot build anything else. We have tried for so many generations, and yet things seem to be going down, down and down. further down and not getting any better, it's because we refuse to face truths. We keep building fake societies because we think, well, for many reasons for that matter, but the main reason is because we think truth is not as important as we think it is. Many people think that truth is overrated. Many people think that truth is a luxury out there, that, well, you need to be a very highly perceived person with a reputation like nobody else and achievements like nobody else to be perceived as a truthful person, which is not true. I mean, people can see easily. They can see it in the way you live, in the way you speak, in what you stand for. They can see it easily whether what you stand for and what you do is truthful or deceitful. So as I go through this channel, I will stop and talk about many topics. I hope I can share the most important messages for whoever is ready to hear them. Again, as I usually say in my other videos, do not take my word for absolute truth. Use your own ability and critical thinking and common sense to understand and to feel if the things that I am claiming and saying on this channel are true to you and in how far. The purpose of this channel is not to change anybody's mind. Whoever wants to live a deceitful life, a life based and filled with lies and manipulation and be miserable for the rest of their lives, they are free to do so. Life is in the end a personal responsibility, right? And you're going to have to figure it out for yourself. But if there is someone like me or anybody else out there who is speaking truths and who is trying to bring some reality check and some shaking and awakening among our societies about the mistakes that we are making in the way that we live, in the way that we perceive our reality, in the way that we accept reality, and in the way that we build our societies, then be smart and keep an open mind when people speak to you. I have absolutely zero interest in this channel because nobody's paying me. I don't work for anybody. This is my channel of raising awareness about the importance of the truth and speaking truth in our lives and why we need to do it. Why is it urgent that we start changing the scenario and changing the way that we live our lives for the better, for our own interest, and the way that we can start a wave of change, by raising awareness for others. This channel is, I believe, a necessity at these times. That's why I have started it. And I hope I can bring some clarity and soberness, right? Some soberness to anyone who is struggling. Probably what we don't sometimes realize in life is that we think we are struggling for many other reasons. We think the money is our problem, the relationship is the problem, the parents are the problem, the education is the problem, the system is the problem, the government is the problem. In fact, when we go deeper and we reflect upon our life and how we are living our life, we understand that the problem starts with us. The problem begins with what we are accepting in our life, what we are choosing to be in life, and with the fact that we rather choose for the easy path than for the truthful path, which comes with other consequences, and that we have to pay for ourselves. Nobody will pay your consequences of your mistakes for you, right? So I hope I have brought a little stream of light in your reality by introducing to you another perspective as to how life should be lived. It is nothing new. What I'm saying here is mostly things we all know, but we refuse to accept. Mostly things we all know, but we refuse to live by for many reasons. I mentioned only 3 reasons here, but there are people who, for example, cannot speak the truth because they fear. There are people in the world who fear for their lives, and so they cannot speak the truth. And that is very sad in a society that claims that is free and modern and progressive, and right, because that's what we claim nowadays. That is pretty sad that people don't have the freedom to speak truth. I have been someone who have always been on the side of the truth. That is why am I speaking on this channel, because it would have been very, very, very untruthful and ungenuine of my side, on my side, to come here and give you lectures on the truth while I'm living my life in lies and deceit, and that would have been unacceptable, of course. So the reason that I'm speaking about truth is because I am living in my truth, and I want everybody else to do the same, although that's not an achievable goal, of course, because that's not how it works in reality. But the more people pick and choose the side of the truth, the better is for us. The better is for our children, the better is for our societies, the better is for us to build our systems. We cannot build systems based on lies. We have tried so far, but they're not working, are they? Which is a big indication that things need to change. Things need to change, and you cannot change anything unless you deal with your own reality first. You cannot change and you cannot do anything for the better if you do not accept the situation of your life exactly the way it is, not the way you want it to be, not the way you want others to see it, but the way it is. That is the truth, the only truth. Finally, truth is hard. It's not easy. But truth will set you free. And here's a beautiful quote by Joyce Meyer that I always live by. It's not the truth about others that will set you free. It's the truth about yourself. So, speak your truth, seek your truth, be your truth, and live your own truth. I wish you all a very good day. It was a pleasure to speak about truth today, and I hope to see you in the next video with the next topic. Have a good day, everybody. Bye.